The United States and Ukraine have been collaborating on biosafety and biosecurity since the mid-2000s, including the establishment of several biolabs funded by the US government. However, some critics have raised concerns about the potential risks and unintended consequences of the gain-of-function (GOV) research conducted in these labs, especially in light of the COVID-19 pandemic and its origins in Wuhan, China. GOV research involves manipulating pathogens to increase their virulence, transmissibility, or host range in order to better understand their biology and potential for causing disease. While GOV studies can provide important insights into the mechanisms of pathogenesis and guide the development of vaccines and therapeutics, they also carry the risk of accidental or intentional release of highly pathogenic agents, as well as the creation of novel pathogens with pandemic potential. The US-Ukraine Partnership on Biosafety and Biosecurity has focused on enhancing the capacity of Ukrainian institutions and personnel to prevent, detect, and respond to infectious disease outbreaks and bioterrorism threats. This has involved the renovation and construction of several high-containment biolabs, such as the Central Reference Laboratory in Kiev and the Luga Center in Tbilisi, Georgia, as well as the training and exchange of scientists and technicians. Experts have criticized the lack of transparency and public engagement in the US-funded biolabs in Ukraine, as well as the potential dual-use applications of GOV research. For example, in 2015, Russian officials accused the US of conducting bioweapons research in the Luga Center, which the US denied as baseless propaganda. The recent controversy over the origins of COVID-19 and the possibility of a laboratory leak from the Wuhan Institute of Virology, WIV, has brought renewed attention to the risks and benefits of GOV research, as well as the need for international norms and oversight in this field. While there is no conclusive evidence yet to support either the natural or the laboratory hypothesis of SARS-CoV-2 emergence, the debate has highlighted the importance of biosafety, biosecurity, and transparency in research on high-consequence pathogens. The potential danger of these biolabs goes beyond the scope of an accidental leak of a dangerous pathogen. The US government is allegedly using these biolabs to conduct gain-of-function research on pathogens, which is the process of enhancing their virulence or transmissibility in order to better understand their behavior and prepare for potential outbreaks. However, the research is highly controversial and has been deemed unethical by many in the scientific community. The United States has a history of using bioweapons, dating back to the Cold War era, when they conducted extensive research on bioweapons and even tested them on unsuspecting civilians. In fact, the US was one of the few countries that refused to sign the Biological Weapons Convention in 1972, which prohibits the development, production, and stockpiling of biological weapons. The US government claims that the biolabs in Ukraine are only for defensive purposes and to study infectious diseases. However, this claim has been challenged by many experts who argue that the research being conducted in these labs could easily be used to create bioweapons that go against the Geneva Convention. The US government has a history of lying to the public about their involvement in bioweapons research. For example, during the 1950s, the US government denied that they were conducting biological weapons research, even as they were actively testing bioweapons on unsuspecting civilians. According to reports, Russia has claimed that it has found birds with dormant diseases and viruses that have tags linked to biolabs in Ukraine. The tags found on the birds have reportedly led Russian officials to believe that these diseases and viruses were developed in the biolabs and then released into the wild. The Russian government has accused the United States of funding and supporting these biolabs, and has suggested that they may be part of a larger effort to create bioweapons. The potential consequences of using bioweapons are devastating, both in terms of human life and global stability. The use of biological weapons is prohibited under the Geneva Convention, which aims to protect civilians and limit the effects of armed conflict. The US government's involvement in gain-of-function research in Ukraine biolabs raises serious concerns about their commitment to international law and the safety of civilians around the world. The US government's involvement in gain-of-function research in Ukraine biolabs is a cause for concern. The potential risks of this research, combined with the history of the US government's involvement in bioweapons research and their disregard for international law, raises serious questions about their true intentions. It is essential that the international community hold the US government accountable for their actions and demand transparency and accountability in their bioweapons research programs.